we're rebroadcasting our wonderful conversation with Adam Ben Ezra on today's episode of Contrabass Conversations. I have had so many wonderful conversations over the last few years, rebooting the podcast, getting back into this whole crazy world of chatting with bass players. And I don't even know where to begin when I look back, but a few highlights stand out for me. And one of them is absolutely my conversation with Adam Ben Ezra, which happened relatively early on when I rebooted the podcast. He's somebody that I became just totally mesmerized by when I'd watch him online. And I just wanted to connect and chat and learn about what he was doing on the bass. And that's what today's episode is. If you're not familiar with Adam Ben Ezra, he has taken the world by storm and is such a creative and playful and innovative force on the bass. It's totally cool to follow along with what he's done. Definitely check out his website, adambenezra.com, and follow along with his email list and follow him on social media. He's super creative and, like I said, fun and just all that kind of good stuff with what he's doing. One of his favorite videos of mine is, and we talk about this, is his wonderful song Can't Stop Running, where he's got this dog that just couldn't be less interested. And Adam's playing this tune and the dog is just bored and then starts licking himself and scratching himself. And it's just so much fun. This is one of those things that I watched probably 50 times in a row and tried to learn online. And eventually I bought the sheet music and I've learned it. Totally love it. So this is a great conversation from the archives of the podcast. I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors that help us keep going here for the podcast. They are A440 Violin Shop. They are in beautiful Chicago, Roscoe Village, just west of Wrigley Field. Get anything you need for a bass, whether it's a repair or a new instrument or a bow or anything like that. You can get that done at A440. A440violinshop.com. Thank you also to Robertson & Sons Violins. For more than 4 decades, Robertson's has been providing the highest quality string instruments and bows to collectors, professional musicians, music educators, and students of all ages. And what a collection. Oh my goodness. I was down in Albuquerque in late 2017 and had such a blast playing all the basses they have available there and taking them into their beautiful recital hall. You owe yourself a visit to Albuquerque. Get to Robertson's and try out the basses they've got available. Try out their bows. You can learn more at our website. And thank you for sponsoring the podcast, guys. Thank you also to D'Addario Strings. Their Zyx strings have that fantastic gut kind of growl and feel. They're fascinating strings. I've had such a great time playing on Zyx. And they've got this amazing ring to them under the bow, and they've got that great gut sound when you play them pizzicato, and you don't have the stability issues that you can so often have with traditional gut strings. So thank you to Dario, and contrabassconversations.com/strings will give you more info. And thank you also to the Upton Bass String Instrument Company. They have done so many great things for the bass world, and they've been a wonderful supporter of what I've done on the blog and on the podcast for years and years. They are the only maker of a double bass that Gary Carr commercially endorses, the Carr model bass, very comfortable bass, slim, long Carr neck. Check it out for sure, and check them out at uptonbass.com. All right, here we go with this archive best of conversation, one of my favorites from the past few years with Adam Ben Ezra. You started on violin, right?
Yeah, that was my first instrument. I was a little kid with a little violin, and I started playing all kinds of simple tunes and classical music. And after a few years, I wanted to be more cool, so I picked electric guitar and started to play with all kinds of rock band. And when I fell in love with jazz, I switched to double bass.
Okay, so it's jazz that pulled you over to the bass.
Yeah, I was an electric bass player since I wasn't such a good guitar player. And so I switched to play the bass. And when I started to listen to jazz, I decided to switch finally to the double bass.
Okay,
Cool. Now, did you studied a lot of the instruments that you play? You're self-taught on, right?
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah.
I studied with teachers, the guitar and bass guitar and the double bass, but the other instruments that I play, I just learned by myself.
Uh-huh.
For example, the piano. When I was a very young kid, my mother put all kinds of stamps on the keyboard.
Okay.
What's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and that's how I learned to play piano.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I know how to read notes, to read music, so I played all kinds of classical tunes, and my technique got better and better. And in the past few years, I started to play the clarinet and flute, and just clicking on YouTube how to play clarinet and flute, watch some videos, watch the fingering, and got few tips from other musicians, friends, and with practice, you get better.
Yeah.
אלוהימה, תגידי מי את באמת. אלוהימה, אילו ידעת כמה רציתי בך, היית ודאי נמצאת כמו בן לאמא, אוהב אותך, ישן ומחבק את אלוהימה. אלוהימה, מאין לך כל התשובות? הביטי פנימה, וראי אותי, שואל אותך את כל השאלות, את סודותייך הכמוסים נמנעת לגלות, פשוט שותקת או שר השיר. שלכת התכסתה בצבע כבר כמה פעמים.
You know, when I first saw you play, I think it was on Facebook, probably Can't Stop Running. I think that's the last time I can remember watching something and just immediately running over to my bass and trying to figure out how to play that thing. And I think I spent like 2 or 3 hours just trying to work out all these techniques. It's such a cool way of playing the bass that you have. And I mean, I know you play in all these different kinds of styles, but maybe just tell folks a little bit about how you came up with this percussive bass style that you do.
The first bass player that I heard starting to use the double bass as a percussion instrument is Avishai Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
So after I heard him, I was very inspired to try it on my own. And I looked online to find other bass players. I couldn't find, except all kinds of rockabilly slap technique.
Yeah.
It was a very long journey to develop this kind of technique. I took all kinds of drums books, and I played all kinds of exercise of hi-hat, snare, and bass drum, but imitating it and playing on the bass. and I took all kinds of Latin music books with the Latin bass lines, and I just fill the spaces between the notes with percussive notes. Like when you play slap bass. You have the notes that you play and the ghost notes.
Yeah, and I can really hear that kind of like hi-hat, bass drum. You got like those different timbres within the lines when you're doing the percussive technique. It's very cool.
Oh, thank you. Yes, this technique I learned by playing those drum rhythms. In general, I try to imitate other instruments when I play the bass. Like when if I play the Arabic style, I try to imitate the oud playing, like with the tremolo, with one finger, like a pick, like when you play a mandolin. Yeah. Or to imitate guitars.
Now, you do a lot of looping as well. When did you start experimenting with looping?
I think it was 6 years ago. When I decided that I wanted to perform solo, I understood that in order to get a wide experience of sound, I should use the loop device. So I started with it. With loop stations and multi-effects, you really can make a rich sound with lots of colors. So I really enjoy to use those devices.
Now, how do you write your tunes these days? Do you do it at the bass or do you do it at another instrument? What's your workflow for writing tunes?
Some of the tunes I compose on the bass, some of the tunes I compose on the piano. When it's a solo bass thing, usually I do it on the bass, of course. Usually I start to improvise and I get into a very interesting groove or melodic ideas. And when I stumble it and I like it, I try to develop it into a complete tune. That's mostly the process of composing.
Now, one thing I love about the videos you put out is that just every single one is visually interesting in kind of like a different way. Like I love the Can't Stop Running. You've got that dog, which is I've shown that video to a bunch of people. The first thing they say is, "Wow, this is amazing bass playing," and then the second thing they say is, "Check out that dog." And then like halfway through, he starts cleaning himself. Is that your dog?
No, actually, we should shoot this clip in a friend's house, and it was his dog. In the first takes of this video, we didn't use the dog, and then we saw him sleeping in the corner. And last take, we shoot this clip. We took the dog and put it in the frame, and luckily it was a very great success because of that. So it was we didn't mean to do it originally.
Well, it's such a great stroke of inspiration because the dog looks so unimpressed with what's going on, and it's such a great visual. And then I love you've got the one with you playing, and then there's like this woman baking in the background.
This video we really liked this motif of me playing, and there's a person or an animal or someone who's doing his thing without relating to me. So we found this restaurant, and in this floor, the daytime, there was a woman who baked the pastry of the restaurant. So we just asked her if she can do whatever she does. She accepted, and it was great.
That's a great video. And even like you've got pigeons in the background of the busking one. Like, yeah, it's a cool motif. Yeah.
Not just me playing and showing my skills. There's another character, and I really like it.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I love the ideas. I'm never sure what to expect when I see a new one. So they're very cool. Now you're playing on a Nick Lloyd bass. Is that right?
Yeah. My bass is made by Nick.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your bass from Nick. When did you have it made? And maybe just talk a little about that instrument.
I started from the beginning. I got an email from Nick Lloyd. He saw my videos and he wanted me to do an endorsement agreement with me. So he offered me to build me a bass, and I was very happy for that because I really wanted a 5 strings bass with a high C. I saw Renaud Garcia fonts, and I saw all the possibilities that can be done with the 5th high strings. So I wanted this kind of instrument, and this instrument by Nick Lloyd is amazing. Really, it's super comfortable. It has the longest sustain that I've ever heard in acoustic basses, and the sound is very sharp and focused. And I'm really enjoying playing this beautiful instrument, and also it's very convenient to tour with because the neck is removable, so I can take a very a small flight case with me in the size just of the body of the bass, and not to fly with a huge fly case. And it's really great, and the sounds is amazing.
Yeah, that neck system that he has is great. That the removable neck, and then it's so much easier than carrying a 7-foot flight trunk around.
Yeah, it's and there are a lot of flight company that they don't allow to carry this huge flight case. So it's a really good solution for that. And especially for me, because it's really hard to rent 5 strings basses wherever I go. So that's how I play with my on my instrument, and it's super convenient.
Well, it's great to have that 5th string. It just opens up so many possibilities in the upper register. Having that C string.
Yes, it's amazing. You can play. I use it a lot for chords, and when with the bow you can play. You can get to the range of the cello, or even a low range of viola. So it's amazing, really. And I play the violin, so I like have the whole spectrum of the string quartet.
Yeah, that's cool.
In my hand, which is cool now.
When did you start working on your solo album? Your solo album just came out, right? Recently?
It's a trio album. Yes. I did it a year ago. And after a few years of playing just solo, I wanted to create a band. So I gathered these 2 amazing players. Gilad Obretsky plays percussion, and Adam Ben Ezra plays guitar, and they are really unique and special musicians. And together we did all kinds of arrangements for my tunes, my original tunes. Some of them are complete new, and some of them can be found on YouTube. As a solo. It was an amazing journey to produce this album. Really great that it came out like that.
Yeah, another thing that I love are all these like Mad Men, Dexter, South Park, all those covers that you've done, and just the videos are all really, really great. Like that Dexter video is cut so perfectly. you work with to do all these visuals? You must have a couple people you work with.
Yes, sure. My manager, and actually we are best friends from the age of 12.
Okay.
So it's a great fun to work with your best friends. We find a nice idea for a clip, whether it's original or cover or a theme song. And on Dexter, we both really liked the series, so we knew what it's all about, and so we could use all kinds of elements from the plot, and it was really great. And we worked with a great cinematographer named Sergei Maiden. And actually Dexter was the first time we worked with him, and since then he's our regular guy, which is great.
I was checking out that double bass projection mapping, that video that you got, which is really fascinating with all the visuals, and that's a very cool concept.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I did it. It was a offer. It was from a show that was broadcast on Israeli TV, and they came up with this idea of mapping, and it was amazing. So I composed this tune for the video and for this to open this venue, and it was quite challenging because of the mapping, the bass should be stable, and so it wasn't on a stand. So it was the first time for me to play, and it's on a stand, so it was challenging, but I'm really satisfied with the result. It was very cool.
That's going to do it for another episode of Contrabass Conversations. I'm so glad to have you here. And if you'd like to get in touch, email me at feedback@contrabassconversations.com. I respond to each and every email I get, and I love to hear guest ideas, topic ideas. That would be fantastic. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't yet. You can go to our website, contrabassconversations.com/subscribe, or just go to our website. You'll find the link right there. And if you would like to help out the show, the number one thing you could do to help out this show, Contrabass Conversations, is tell a friend. Tell a student, tell a colleague. They can be a bass player, a non-bass player. That would be so helpful for helping this show grow. If you haven't checked out our archive of over 400 episodes, you can get our Contrabass Conversations app. That is contrabassconversations.com/app, or just search for us in the app store of your choice. That's going to do it for today's episode. I'm Jason Heath, and we will see you again soon for more life on the low end of the spectrum.